I want to talk today about working with energy and meditation, right? This is what we're actually always working with, is the energy. When we sit down to meditate, our intention is to quiet and gather the scattered energies of the body and the heart-mind together. Because usually the mind and the body are not working completely together. Usually the mind is busy thinking one thing and the body is busy doing something else. We write our grocery list while we're walking the dog. We worry about some problem or get lost in a daydream while we're surfing the net or washing the dishes. We talk while we're putting on our shoes. When we're involved in some kind of repetitive or remote or rote activity that doesn't require much thought, our mind wanders out of the present moment and into what for us is more interesting and exciting thoughts, or what are more interesting and exciting thoughts. But scattered energy depletes us. So when we decide that we're going to meditate, the first order of business is to gather these disparate energies together. And this has some advantages. By yoking the body and the mind together into the present moment, well, they are no longer at odds with one another. Their energies are no longer fragmented and conflicting. They are consolidated, they're collected, they're harnessed, they're yoked together in the present moment. And in this cooperation, they give each other strength, the strength of each other's presence. So when body, heart, mind are united, they are stronger. And as a result, they use less effort. Now, instead of fighting to stay attentive, a relaxed, alert, energetic quality of attention begins to come online. And this is a really good thing. Less effort, more ease. Less effort, more ease, and eventually effortless ease. And we all know that state of doing something that we do with seemingly no application of energy. We're just doing it with great ease. And we sometimes refer to this as a state of flow. Often it happens when we have an aptitude for something or are deeply interested and engaged in the subject. This is also kind of interesting to note because, you know, that when we bring the mind and the body in line and in balance with one another, that this working together uses less energy and is more efficient than when they work independently. We can use this knowledge for our advantage. So maybe we might rethink talking while we're putting on our shoes. But when we sit down to meditate, when we decide to meditate, we're making the choice to settle the busy energies of the mind and the body and come in for a landing. But as many of you know, the mind and the body are not always cooperative. They don't respond on cue. We have to invite them, not once, but many times, to settle together. Encourage them, like parents would encourage their children to play together, because the body and the mind are not used to hanging out together, not as much as we think they are. So this is really good practice. Just this calming and collecting energy into settledness is useful and necessary. And just this much is a balm for the ills of the world. As the settling of gross energies begins to happen, as the body gets a bit more comfortable on the ground and the mind lets go of some of the obvious busyness, we start to encounter some more subtle and pervasive energies in the body and in the mind. We begin to see that even in silence, the mind has particular habits of thinking and the body responds in kind. So as good meditators, we start to pay attention to what's happening, start to notice when the mind has wandered away, and we are encouraged, we gently invite it back into a place, back into a posture of restful alertness in the present moment. That's what we're doing each time. Come on back in. Come on back in and feel a little bit more comfortable. And it is at this point that we bring it back in, that we return to the body, where we can start to notice the energy that went along with that thought. You see, every thought has a physical reaction and an energy valence or thrust or push. And it's this push that we're actually working with in practice. Not the content of the thoughts, but the energetic of the thoughts. With every thought, the body comes along for the ride. So if we're having worried, anxious thoughts, well, the body is going to react in accord. It may display restlessness. It may be short of breath. The hands may grow cold, hot, sweaty, or disappear completely. The whole system is experiencing the anxious thoughts, not just the mind. The whole system is having this event, is experiencing this event of a thought. The thought brings more energy to the system, or it depletes it, or it has a neutral effect. Which is it? Knowing this helps us to figure out how to respond. Every thought has a particular energetic. It uplifts and energizes, or it depletes and drains. And these energies have a particular flavor or feel of anxiety, of rush, of worry, of sadness, of irritation. The charge of anger is quite different than the charge of revelry. The charge of grief is quite different than that of exhaustion. So unwinding from the energies of these thought streams asks something different from us as meditators. Each one needs something very particular. When we withdraw unwise attention from the thinking mind, you've heard me say that many times, withdraw unwise attention from the thinking mind, bring it on back into the body breathing. Now watch, right here, just watch, pay attention. Notice what it feels like inside when you bring the attention back in. What does that rattle feel like? What does the energetic feel like? Learn to read the energy. That means learn to see and feel what is really happening inside. That's what reading means. And as we feel these signs, this is what we're beginning to understand is felt experience practice. This is what we begin to pay attention to. Oh, this is what anxiety feels like. Oh my goodness. I had no idea what was really happening in my whole body when I have an anxious thought. It's not just up here. So using mindfulness, that is from that posture, a non-judgmental posture of carrying attention in the present moment. We use that non-judgmental quality of attention to feel the energy and then respond accordingly. What does the energy need to restore, to be brought back into balance and harmony? What does it need? Do we need to soften and settle and release the pent-up energy, the unnecessary energy that's kind of there, that's bracing all the time? Can we relax some of that? Do we need to gather, kindle, or brighten the dull energies, or the bored energies, or the falling asleep, or not interested, or who cares? Can we brighten that up and care about this present moment? Can we brighten that energy? Play. We're learning to play this instrument. All the energies of this instrument. Okay, so notice what is happening with the energy. What does it feel like inside? Does it feel like it's sinking, that it's dull, that it's drifty? If so, brighten it up. Does it feel wild and scattered or poppy or too big? Well, calm it down, smooth it out. We're learning through mindfulness practice how to track energy and how to titrate it And we do this by feel. So we want to feel into the charge of the energy and then adjust accordingly. Adjust accordingly so that it settles back into a more comfortable zone. Oh, we can do this. We totally can do this. And these skills are so useful for us in daily life. Learning how to track and titrate and balance the energy so that it feels a bit more comfortable and we can play within our game. We can do this. It's for our welfare to do this.